Let's get you caught up on the latest San Francisco 49ers trade buzz following the Brandon Aiyuk season-ending injury. Torn ACL, MCL, could have other damage in that knee. And also, we are approaching the NFL trade deadline on November 5th, and it's going to be here before we know it. So coming up on the Niners Report, will the Niners make a trade for a wide receiver? The talk is hot right now. So today, we're talking about these four wideouts here. And San Francisco's either been rumored to be interested in these players, they're looked at as trade targets for San Francisco, or they've been involved in trade talks at some point or another at some point this year, throughout the last couple of months, during this offseason. DeAndre Hopkins of the Tennessee Titans, Diontae Johnson of the Carolina Panthers, Cortland Sutton of the Denver Broncos, and former Niner Kendrick Bourne, currently with the New England Patriots. So, I pop up today's poll question to really set the foundation for today's program. What should the Niners do after the Aiyuk injury? Type M for make a trade. Type R for play the rookies and see what Jacob Cowing and Ricky Pearsall can do, two members of this 2024 Niners draft class. Let's start off with DeAndre Hopkins. This is a very interesting name for a multitude of reasons here. He is 32 years old, playing on a bad Tennessee Titans team right now. He's on an expiring contract. Given his size and his ability to climb the ladder, be physical, come down with 50-50 balls, he could be a great red zone target for Brock Purdy, and he's always had really good hands. So to really summarize that, why DeAndre Hopkins could be a trade target for the San Francisco 49ers, he's an older player. He's currently playing on an awful Tennessee Titans team that could decide to sell as we approach the November 5th NFL trade deadline. Their general manager, Ran Carthon, who used to be a member of this Niners front office. So there's a line of communication there. Hopkins is on the final year of his contract, so you don't have to worry about paying him beyond 2024. Given his size, great red zone target for Brock Purdy to throw the football up to. And as we know, the Niners have struggled mightily in the red area. And while he will not create separation, he has that aforementioned size and really good hands to bring down those 50-50 balls. And speaking of that lack of separation, Brock Purdy has not been helped by his wide receiver targets this year as far as them gaining separation on defenders. But DeAndre Hopkins in that red zone, even on the long ball, he's never been a twitchy athlete. He's never had that long speed, but he's so physical at the point of attack, high pointing the football, where even though he can't create that gap between him and the defensive back, he makes up for it with those highlight reel contested catches. That has always been his game. The back shoulder ball, the fade ball, he can really do it all in that manner. And if we're talking about DeAndre Hopkins helping this team in the red zone, in 2023, the Niners had the number one red zone touchdown efficiency rate at 68%, meaning when they got inside that red area, they were scoring a touchdown 68% of the time. That was the top all teams in the National Football League. This year, though, they can't finish drives with touchdowns once they get inside the 20. 45.1% is their red zone touchdown scoring percentage. That has dropped from number one all the way to 27. And if this continues, the Niners will make the playoffs, or will not make the playoffs, and it will continue to be a very frustrating offensive season because they're top 5 in yards per game. They just simply can't punch it into the paint. A lot of people pertaining to DeAndre Hopkins are also saying that he is washed, he's a cooked product, his best days are behind him. Is he the player that he was with the Houston Texans and with the Arizona Cardinals? No, but I saw some comments of people from yesterday's show when we brought his name up briefly saying that he's playing on one leg, he can't play any longer. Well, with bad quarterback play last year with the Tennessee Titans, he had more than 1,000 yards on 137 targets, 75 catches, and 7 touchdowns. This year, Will Levis has probably been the worst starting quarterback in the National Football League, so you can't really look at those numbers. Now, in 2022 and in 2021, you certainly worry about the lack of games played. He also had that PED suspension a couple of years ago, but as recent as last year, DeAndre Hopkins was putting up stupid numbers, and Dante Whitner, also known as Dante Hittner, really good safety for this team way back in the day under Jim Harbaugh. He was on NBC Sports Bay Area, and he said that Hopkins, his number one trade target. So he pitched that trade for John Lynch to call Tennessee about DeAndre Hopkins, a name to watch. Wide receiver target number 2 is Diontae Johnson of the Carolina Panthers. This offseason, he was traded by the Pittsburgh Steelers to Carolina as they tried to fetch another weapon for Bryce Young, who's not even playing any longer, as Andy Dalton has taken over the starting quarterback duties. Why Johnson could be traded, he is not happy with this Panthers role. He said the other day, I can't be expected to play everywhere. Carolina is a garbage team in the running for the first overall pick. Johnson also on an expiring contract. He is a speedster. He is a burner. He can create separation, and he's 28 years old, and he's had some pretty high-level production. Now, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he had a couple of really good years, and people were thinking, he's legit. He's had a lot of drop issues. That is, of course, a problem to monitor. Sometimes the energy level and the body language wasn't good, but could he be reignited going from anemic Pittsburgh Steelers offenses to a bad Panthers team to playing for a team that is still trying to get these Super Bowl aspirations underway and shake off these Super Bowl hangover vibes? Last year, Johnson, 717 yards receiving. Year before that, 882. And in 2021, more than 1,000. He's been targeted a lot. He's been a pretty reliable player as far as his availability. And if he doesn't drop the football, it's a really good wide receiver who could be made available. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, by the way, because whenever the Niners make a roster move, if they make a trade, we will talk about it. We keep you in the loop with all things Niners every single day, year-round. So hit that subscribe button for Niners Talk right here on YouTube that you're going to enjoy. Today's sponsor, our friends at Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy sports app in the game and the largest daily fantasy sports app in North America with more than 10 million active members. They have also handed out billions of dollars in awarded winnings. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. You pick 2 or more players, you choose more or less on their projected stats, and right now you win $50 when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. How do you make it happen? How can you get it popping? Head to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use the code CLNS. And right now, PrizePicks a great special, and they oftentimes have these great specials. Anthony Edwards, opening night, Minnesota Timberwolves, star player coming off that gold medal Olympic run and a great run to the Western Conference Finals last year, more than a half point. So he scores 1 point, you get a win. NBA opening night tonight. We like Anthony Edwards. That's a free dub. Jason Tatum, less than 26.5 points against the New York Knicks. And then Jalen Brunson, more than 38.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So pick more, pick less. Run your game with Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. Get $50 when you play $5. Next trade target here. There was some chatter about this move on social media, and Cortland Sutton has been involved in trade discussions for quite some time now, going all the way back to the summer. He has 2 years remaining on his contract. So the final year of his contract would be the 2025 season for point number 2 here. But going back to the summer, he wanted a contract extension. There was some talk about him maybe holding out. The Broncos didn't give him that new deal, but he's looking for a new contract. Doesn't have that long-term financial stability or security. That's why Brandon Aiyuk fought for that deal, because the NFL also stands for not for long. And what happened to Brandon Aiyuk? Now with Sutton, he has not been the beneficiary of good quarterback play with the Denver Broncos over the last several years. Even when he does have a good quarterback, I don't think he's the number 1, but he's a very good number 2, really good and excellent number 3. The issue with him and his future, the Broncos are now 4-3 after that bad start, and it's not like Bo Nix has been lighting the world on fire, but they're 4-3, and they could be looking at themselves and saying, we're a well-coached football team. Our defense is humming. For our young quarterback, can we get him playoff experience? And if that's the case, why give away his top weapon in Cortland Sutton? This year, he's been targeted 47 times, 21 catches, 277 yards, 13.2 yards per catch. And how about the consistency there as far as the yards per catch over the last 4 years? It is always hovering and has been hovering over that 13-yard mark. Bad quarterback play last year, as I noted, 772 yards on 59 catches. The year before that, 829, and in 2021, 776 yards. So he's been targeted a lot over the last 4, and in the previous 3, more than 90 targets in each of those years. And then a popular name right now, just because of his familiarity with this organization and him being drafted by the Niners and then leaving in order to get a bag with the New England Patriots, is Kendrick Bourne. So with Kendrick Bourne, why he could be on the move and why he could be a target for San Francisco, scheme familiarity. Again, another one of these players who's playing on a bad team that could sell and look to get back assets for a player who they don't really need or want. This is not an easy offense under Kyle Shanahan to learn for a wide receiver, but for Bourne, he'd be able to adapt and hopefully step right in. He just returned this year coming off a torn ACL, and he's been a productive player. Now, is he a number 1 or a number 2? No, he is not. He's never been that. His numbers were a little bit inflated with San Francisco. Is he a number 3, number 4? Yeah, that's where his role really is defined, and he would be a better depth piece for this team as compared to being a star this year in only 3 games played, coming off that injury. 5 targets, 4 catches, 29 yards. Last year, he was actually putting together a pretty good year. Again, bad offense, one of the worst in the NFL, and awful quarterback play. But in 8 games, 37 catches for 406 yards. So he was on pace for 800-plus yards that year. 2022, only 434 yards, but the year before that, 800 yards. Again, he's been a pretty productive player. As far as the cap hits for all 4 of these wide receivers here in 2024, DeAndre Hopkins, $18 million. Diontae Johnson, $10. Cortland Sutton, $7.8. And Kendrick Bourne, $3.2. So varying costs for these players. Of note, the Niners have the most cap space in the National Football League. And these players, again, varying skill sets, all types of different players, different price points. It comes down to what the Niners are willing to pay, what they're looking for, and even if they want to make a move in general, because you think about the top 6 wideouts on this team right now, it's still a pretty good room. Deebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing, Chris Conley, Ronnie Bell. So among the 4 wideouts that we talked about on the program here today, I want you to pick one. DH for DeAndre Hopkins, CS for Cortland Sutton, DJ for Diontae Johnson, KB for Kendrick Bourne. Who would you want the Niners to trade for?